What's up, Sink Pissers? Josh with the Clearing Waivers podcast coming at you another time this week. We appreciate you joining us this week. We got a lot to talk about. We got the NFL playoffs are starting up, and that's the majority of what we're going to be talking about tonight, but there's a lot to get to. But we're going to clear some waivers with that Chiefs and Chargers, talk a little bit about some of that meaningless Week 17 game and kind of what it does actually mean, what kind of stood out per usual. We're going to get to the 17 weeks ago, we did some NFL predictions at the beginning of the season, so we're going to revisit some of those, and then we're going to talk about a little bit about the NFL preview, NFL playoffs. We got Super Wildcard Weekend, which is such a catchy title to give this weekend, but a lot of fun games to get into. We'll kind of look at that a little bit, give some Super Bowl predictions, and then do some shenanigans. So with that, we've got the usual crew. Per usual, Rance is back with us again. Rance, welcome. How was your holiday?
Good. Packed on some serious pounds. Back at school today. I've been on the treadmill the last couple of days. Last time I tried that, it lasted about 4 days, and I shut it down due to terrible leg pain. Yeah. So we'll see if I can. I don't know how far it's going to go, boys. I don't know.
That might be called getting muscle, Rance. I don't know.
That's right.
That leg pain.
Who wants any of that?
No pains, no gains.
I don't want any muscle.
Yeah. We're just going to get rid of some of those poundage. I totally understand. I'm glad to have you back. Glad you had a good holiday season, but let's get clear of the waivers here.
We're clearing the waivers.
Like I said, Chiefs did lose to the Chargers 38-21 in a meaningless Week 17 game. They ended the year 14-2, which I just learned today was officially the best season in franchise history. Apparently, that was making their rounds a couple weeks ago. So I finally caught up to the curve on that. The Chiefs sat 19 players, I think is what Nate Taylor kind of calculated for COVID reasons or injuries or just trying to keep the rest. But I guess, Brian, what was the standout to you in this game?
In like a preseason game where you're looking for new guys to step up and maybe in the backup positions, I was trying to find guys that may actually make an impact in the playoffs. And when you're looking at guys like Clyde, maybe out, maybe that first week or something, Darwin Thompson really showed some juice and looked really comfortable in the passing game. That was the best I've seen him play in a Chiefs uniform by far. When you get 110 total yards, I think.
Yep.
Showing more
Two
juice
touchdowns
and more decisiveness than I've seen from him in previous performances. I still love Byron Pringle. I wish he'd get more love the wide receiver when everybody's healthy. I'd at least split his reps with Demarcus Robinson, if not give him way more, because I love Byron Pringle, and he just seems to always get open and make plays. He doesn't really ever drop anything. I know Tobe loves him on the special teams, and they always want to keep him safe for the special teams. But by God, he makes plays on offense. So I wish we'd see more of him going forward. I don't know if that's gonna be a surprise wrinkle in the playoffs. Probably not. But I love me some Pringle.
I totally forgot about that tip pass from Darwin that he almost got in on. I rewatched the game today, and I totally forgot about that until I saw it again. I was like, oh, that's neat. He did it again.
Yeah. I also thought that Chad Henne looks really comfortable in the offense, even when he doesn't have the top end weapons out there. And I feel like if, knock on wood, if Mahomes has to mix a quarter,
don't
like
say that. Don't say it.
I'm just saying if he goes into concussion tests, I'm not going to lose my mind and say, well, this game's fucking over. I feel like Henne can come in. He's not going to be Nate Sudfeld. He's not going to be a complete disaster. I think we can feel good with him covering for a few minutes. I certainly wouldn't want him to count on him for the rest of the playoffs, but I feel good about him if we need him in a short stint. So that was promising to me.
He went 23 of 32 for 218 yards and 2 touchdowns with the second team against the mostly first team NFL defense. Like you said, we're not trying to put it out there, but there could be worse options for a backup plan,
right?
In Chad Henne. So,
as we've seen in LA and the Rams and the Cardinals have a playoff spot in the line. They're both playing two idiots out there that never played before.
Yep.
I mean, what are you doing, guys?
Idiots.
Yep. Well,
what are we doing?
At least
That-
Walford was fleet of foot.
Yeah.
He made some
Kitty
plays
loved
with speed.
Walford.
Walford. yeah.
Old Jared Goff is a goddamn running molasses. Get this
Yeah.
Walford guy out there more often.
See, the CBS crew was talking about Wofford might actually be better for this offense at this moment going into that game.
It's possible.
They did win.
It was something.
Correct.
It was sure.
I'll give
something.
him that much.
Speaking of injuries, I think that was my big takeaway is the two guys that I really wanted to see on defense, Willie Gay and DeAndre Baker. Willie Gay got hurt on the third defensive snap. He had a high ankle sprain is what the report is. So that's 2 to 4 weeks probably. And then, I mean, even then you can't really ever tell what it's going to be like when they do get back. So
It could be a Michael Thomas thing.
he could be a Michael Thomas thing. And on the back end of that timeline, he could be ready for the Super Bowl at that point. But hopefully, that linebacker depth is pretty shallow at the moment anyways. So we'll have to see how that kind of pans out. But DeAndre Baker, what a damn year for him, man. Had all that craziness with the Giants and then armed robbery. And then the lawyer that was prosecuting him got hit with extortion charges, released. Ended up on the Chiefs practice squad, called up twice, but never really got any time, and then looked really good in the first half. Got a sack, got some bat downs against Mike Williams, who's a tough guard, and looked decent. He did give up some catches, but you're going to see that. I thought he looked pretty damn good, and then it was just super unfortunate, both the injury and the fact that CBS just had to keep playing it. It was brutal just seeing that leg flop around like a fish fin, but it did sound like he had got successful surgery and was back in the building the next day. So shout out to DeAndre Baker, and it's tough luck, but hopefully we see him back because, I mean, he was only a win-win situation for him and the Chiefs at this point. So we'll have to see how that goes. But that was one takeaway. And then the other one was Mecole Hardman.
Mm-hmm.
I might be done thinking that he is going to be capable of taking over for Sammy Watkins at some point. I think that he had 2 targets for 2 receptions and 25 yards, I think. Both of those, the 2 receptions were behind the line of scrimmage and gimmicky type of scheme plays. And then he had that horrible fumble or muff punt, whatever you want to call it, that the Chiefs had a 14-7 lead at that point. And then if they, I mean, at least keep the ball away from the Chargers for another possession, I mean, you might be looking at a different game. Not that big a deal, but at the same time, you definitely don't want to see that now, right before the playoffs. I feel like that's just something you kind of get with those playmakers like that. You either have to live with the fumbles or the muffs and then celebrate the touchdowns, or it just seems like something you either get or you don't. But I think I'm done kind of thinking that he is going to be Sammy Watkins after this. So it kind of he played for 62% of the snaps and only 64% of the pass plays behind both Pringle, like you mentioned, and DeMarcus Robinson. So, I mean, it is Henne, not Mahomes. It's week 17, so it didn't really matter. There's a lot of caveats to kind of go into that. But at the same time, I think it's time for the Chiefs to kind of start looking to see who that next wide receiver 3 is going to be, or if it's going to be wide receiver 2. If Sammy Watkins, he's a free agent after this year, I think they could bring him back potentially. They could spend decent draft capital on one. They got potential free agents. I talked to Brian about this today. Juju Smith-Schuster, Chris Godwin, and Kenny Golladay are all unrestricted free agents. I think all 3 of those guys are going to be out of the Chiefs' price range for wide receiver 2, but I think that does also drive the price down for like Corey Davis, John Ross, Keelan Cole, Will Fuller, Curtis Samuel. They
can get John Ross. They can get John Ross for a bag of balls.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you want to put them opposite like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce underneath, Clyde Edwards-Helaire as well. You insert any of those guys on this offense, and I think
just like Mecole Hardman. I mean, just like he's been doing all this. I mean, it's the same fucking guy, Josh. He's worse. He's even worse. John Ross is worse than Mecole Hardman, and you're
that might be true.
Slamming the door shut on Mecole. Don't even fucking open that door if John Ross comes knocking.
I agree.
Go to your rooftop, pour boiling water off the roof onto John Ross's fucking head.
He's not
Keep
good.
him out of your, you don't want him in your building.
I hope John Ross isn't listening to this podcast tonight. That's really going to turn him off.
He needs a kick in the pants.
He's selected top 10, right? Number 8 or something.
number 10 before Mahomes and before Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
It's
tough.
Great pick, Bengals.
I totally get the Hardman doubt, and he has done nothing to give us promise. But I also wonder in this final week where it didn't mean anything, I don't think the Chiefs needed to give him like, a tryout or basically say,
Sure.
Are you ready? I think they perfectly know what he is. They see him every day in practice. I think right now they're totally comfortable using him in his gadget scheme, use him on special teams too. And so I don't know how much they wanted to really risk him getting injured in a meaningless game, because he is an actual weapon and he's a real threat when he's out there. Defenses still have to account for him because they take him on those jet sweeps a lot of times, and he's a threat to break it in at any moment. So I think he's still a real threat, and I just wonder how much they wanted to risk him. And if that's the case, I don't really want him out there returning punts, like you said.
Right.
Even if he's muffing the damn thing, you got options back there. I mean, Byron Pringle is perfectly capable of catching a punt.
Fenton had a couple of returns as well.
Yep. So I mean, they had options. So you can go both ways, I think, on as far as wanting to risk him on that. But yeah. I don't think it was necessarily a tryout by any means, and it'll be telling when his contract comes up what happens with that. But yeah, I'm with you. I really thought this year was going to be the step for him, and it just hasn't been so far. So. I don't know.
If there was ever a time where you were going to get a look at him at wide receiver 2 in an offense system like this, it was going to be week 17. It is what it is.
Yes and no. I mean, it could be. They could go throw him out there and say, go be a wide receiver 1, but I don't know if they were asking him to do that necessarily.
No, maybe not. That's
a decent point. I wonder if Sammy, no one expected Sammy to come back on a cheap deal. Everyone just assumed he was going to be gone this year. So it makes me wonder how they would have filled that void, or who steps up into that role. Otherwise, they didn't really need him to this year.
Right.
So I mean, I wonder if they're just kind of waiting that out as far as like advancing him as a wide receiver that they didn't really need to count on. So
yeah, I'm
not giving up hope on him yet as far as becoming a real wide receiver. But if you have your doubts, he's earned every bit of them. So yeah, I get it.
I don't want it to come off like I don't think that he belongs in this team, because he is an absolute weapon.
You just tried to replace him with John Ross.
That's what I heard too.
Okay, well that's fine. I will say that I do really like having him here for those gadget plays, because that is valuable as well. He could be a better DeAnthony Thomas. I don't think he's Sammy Watkins at this point. Is all my point was.
But the only other point,
Allen Robinson's an unrestricted free agent too, so
that's a pipe dream, I think. But
yeah, no,
the other concern you had, I think, is super valid in this, and that's linebacker health. I think that's especially important this year with who you see as potential opponents coming up, whether it's the Ravens or the Titans or the Bills. I mean, these are teams that have athletic quarterbacks and good running games, and if you don't have your linebackers figured out, you're screwed. And that could be the undoing of this team, and they really need Hitchens to be back and fully healthy.
Yep.
Damian Wilson, we saw him come back. That was huge to have him back. Who knows? We don't really want to see Ben Neiman out there, but he has been the guy that they've counted on all year. And so if he's not back, who steps into that role? So it's just definitely something to keep an eye on, because I think that's a potential real weakness for this defense.
Yeah,
it can get exposed by the teams, especially this year in the AFC.
I mean, I think fully healthy, it was already a weakness. And if you're starting to run second and third stringers out there, Colin Saunders was playing middle linebacker for some of the game.
That was fun, though, wasn't it?
That was fun. He was all over the damn place when he was in there. I
told you, I was watching Red Zone, and I watched that fat ass Reggie Ragland try to follow Amir Abdullah across the goal line coming across the middle, and he had no chance to stay with him. I think Colin Saunders beats Ragland in a foot race today.
Okay. I'd like to set that up and run that. That would be fantastic. Well, those are kind of the standouts of a week 17 game. Felt like a preseason game, but at least they were going against an NFL offense and a good quarterback, which is nauseating because of how well he was getting praised against that shitty defense for that week. But whatever. Justin Herbert's going to be very good for a very long time. We'll move on from that. Chiefs do have a bye this week again. Wait to see who they're going to face in the division round. Their potential opponents are the Colts, the Browns, the Titans, or the Ravens. They'll face the lowest seed of that group that remains. Brian, let's do a quick ranking of who you'd want the Chiefs to play in the divisional round. Who would you what's the order that you would prefer to play?
What do we got? Ravens,
Ravens, Colts, Browns, Titans.
Well, obviously, I'd like to play the Browns if we could, because
Sure.
they're in shambles and they may be complete frauds anyway.
Yep.
I'm not. I should be scared of the Ravens, but I'm not really scared of the Ravens. I just feel like Spagnuolo's always got a great plan against him, and he just looks bad every time he plays against the Chiefs defense. And it just don't scare me this year. I don't know. That's probably not what I should be feeling, but that's just what I get. Titans are scary to me. I feel like they can just drill you, and then hit you over the top with those two stud receivers, AJ Brown and Corey Davis.
AJ Brown does not get enough shine. He is very good, ridiculously good.
Top 5 in the league. I'm certain of it.
In his year 2, just bonkers.
Yeah.
And I know we all trash Phil Rivers, but the Colts, they do give me pause. I don't know. They're very good on defense. They're very good on the run game. They do.
Jonathan Taylor go for last week? 180.
Oh, over 200, wasn't it?
Did he go over to? I knew it was 180 at one point.
I thought it was like around 220 or something.
So I guess
Taylor or Henry?
Taylor. I'm pretty certain he was over 200.
So yeah, I guess that takes me Browns, Ravens, probably Titans, and then Colts. I don't think I want to play the Colts. They worry me. But we can always count on the Phil turnover at the end, right?
Jonathan Taylor, 253 last week.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
He's really taken off, hadn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's found his groove. I went Cleveland, Titans, Colts, and Baltimore. I think Baltimore could potentially just turn it on. They've looked good the last few weeks. But Brian, you're right. Spagnuolo's usually got a pretty good game plan for Lamar, and I think that involves a lot of containing from the outside. Like we talked about that earlier in the season when they played. But I just saw Frank Clark and a lot of them waiting for Lamar to come to them or sit in the pocket and pass, which I will let happen all damn day. Give me Lamar in the pocket forever.
And he's capable of going off at any moment too. He's maybe the number one scariest guy to go against, but yeah, I think as a whole, I like our chances against the Ravens.
Yep. I think, all these guys are not necessarily scaring me, but they could get hot and the Chiefs could go bad, but we'll see. I think that's about it. Let's go to look back at some of our predictions for the NFL season this year. They went really well, guys.
Oh yeah.
They went really well. Let's talk about some of the winners here. Rance, I think you're the overall winner of this category. By my arbitrary scoring system, I think you got about. I gave everybody 2 points for every correct positioning guess. So like the Chiefs win in the division, that was 2 points. And then 1 point if there was a playoff team, but you just had them in the wrong spot, and then 0 points if they missed all entirely. But Rance had 15 points in that scoring system. Rance and Barth both got 6 of the 14 playoff spots correct. Only 6 of them. But Rance did get 10 of the 14 playoff teams correct.
Well done.
So very well done. I also gave Brian was the closest on his bold prediction out of all of us.
That was generous.
Your bold prediction was David Johnson going for 1,500 total yards, and he went for 1,005.
Missed like 4 games.
Yeah.
I mean, if Burrow doesn't get hurt, I think he's close. But
you at least you did mention that a rookie quarterback was going to set the record for touchdown passes this year, and there was a rookie quarterback that did set the touchdown record this year.
It's true.
Yep, that's true.
So I did give you a little bit of credit with that. Kitty said that Trubisky was going to start all 16 games, and that was debunked in like week 5.
Yeah, but he's ready to dominate the playoff.
He's taking off now.
Back.
Yep.
He is back.
They were like 4-0 when they benched him, weren't they? Maybe 4-1 or something.
4-1, I think.
Just some miraculous comebacks. Barth said that Ryan Fitzmagic was going to start all 16 games and arguably should have.
Yep, totally.
Tua is a furada.
Boy, they look bad. Good God Almighty.
He looks bad.
They can't throw the ball. He don't throw the ball down the field at all.
No,
I mean, they don't even try.
I said that Tampa Bay Buccaneers were the new 2019 Cleveland Browns at 7-9. I was a bit off on that. They were actually 11-5.
Missed it by that much.
Missed it by that much.
Close. It was close.
As far as the MVP race goes, Kitty thought Matt Ryan was going to do it. He had a decent year, but they're trash as a team.
Yeah, if their year doesn't just every single game they decide to blow leads late in the first half of the season, they have actually may have had a chance for that, but probably not with the way Rodgers played anyway. But at least it wouldn't have just fallen so flat on its face after week 6.
Yep. I think Brian and I are still alive with Pat Mahomes being in the race. I think he's second favorite right now. Everybody seems to think that Rodgers won it last week with beating the mighty Bears.
They're a really good team, those Bears.
They are okay.
They're in the playoffs, aren't they?
They are a playoff team.
They are.
Which is just such a wild sentence to say. Barth said Russ Wilson would be the MVP, and Rance thought that old Dak Prescott was going to win MVP. How do you can you justify that now?
What do you want me to say? I mean, he got injured. The team obviously wasn't doing that great when he was playing. They were 2-2 or whatever. He was putting up good numbers.
He was putting up video game numbers, yeah.
But if you're not going to play on a winning team, you're not going to win the MVP. But I'm certain if Dak would have finished the season, he would have had fantastic stats.
What I really wanted you to say was that Dak Prescott can still make a case for being MVP, considering how shitty the Cowboys were when he went down.
I think he probably has the leverage on getting paid, I would guess.
Yeah.
Not that the Red Rifle wasn't really good the last few weeks.
He was pretty good until last week when they got beat by the
serviceable.
Giants.
Would you rather have Andy Dalton or Chad Henne?
Oh, give me the Rifle, man.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so.
I'm taking John Walford from those three.
His new crush.
So we've kind of hit some of our worst picks, but I was going to have you guys kind of talk a little bit about some of the worst picks out there. Rance, what was one of the worst picks you saw?
Well, I mean, a bunch of us had it, but New England, good God Almighty. Yep. Four out of five of us had New England making the playoffs. Nobody had them winning the division, but 4 out of 5 had them making the playoffs, and what a disaster they were. I mean, nobody could have saw that coming. I know they had a lot of guys opt out on defense, but I thought they'd be able to. I didn't think Cam would be that bad. I mean, he's finished, right? He's finished.
And
he can't. He might be able to go play somewhere for a couple more years as a backup, but that guy looks completely done as a starter.
His shoulders just got to be just screwed to all hell. Just because I mean, he obviously can still run the ball. After the last couple of weeks, he showed out, and he just spikes so many passes from.
That's the thing. I mean,
what's going on? It's just he's. I mean, the receivers don't do him a whole lot of favors in New England right now, still. But even when guys are open, I've seen way too many spiked passes.
I mean, we're talking burying the ball in the ground 3-4 yards short on guys that are just 15 yards down the field.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
That's bad.
I mean, could he go somewhere and become Jacoby Brissett, who is apparently a fullback now?
I mean, that's basically where you want to put him at this point.
Direct snap fullback.
Yeah, I mean,
inside 5, give him the ball.
And I don't see Cam going anywhere to be a backup. It might just be where he's just done because I mean, he's been a starter his whole life, but who would want that guy right now? Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So that was probably the worst pick I noticed. 4 out of 5 of us. And what did they finish? Were they 6-10? They did win last week.
Yes,
so I think that's what
6-10's right. Maybe
I think
7.
That was 7-9. Okay.
7-9.
Yeah.
Brian, what was one of the worst picks you saw?
I mean, I got to go with you and Kitty taking the Falcons to make the playoffs.
Thanks, BK. Appreciate it.
I mean, we all knew that I was going to be a ridiculously tough division.
Not just make the playoffs. I had them to win the division, too.
You did have them win the division, yeah.
I didn't want to say it.
I'll throw myself out there.
He wanted to pour some salt in the wound, like a McDonald's salt packet, but not a whole shaker. Well, I think they still. I mean, we've talked about it a few times. There's no reason why they shouldn't have been 7-9. If they were a competent football team, they're 7-9 this year. Somehow could not pull out the obvious wins, but
Yeah.
Christ Almighty, I think there was still plenty to, justify at the time, and I think there's still a case that they should have been way closer. But playoff team, maybe not.
They're the new Chargers. I mean, like this year, Chargers at least won 4 games in the season. Like the Falcons, I feel like are the new. They invent ways to lose now.
Yeah. I mean,
since that Super Bowl collapse, they've been
never the same. Yep.
Nope.
They lost the game because they scored points too quickly. That's how impressive Atlanta is at losing games. They lose when they score points. I mean,
that was the Gurley trying to go down and couldn't
After
stop.
Matt
Right?
Ryan just told him in the huddle, "Hey man,
go down.
You probably should go down."
Yeah. It's tough.
God. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Kitty, what was one you saw?
I mean, 4 people forgetting about the Super Bowl hangover curse.
The
Losing Super Bowl team just does not make the playoffs the next year, no matter, for some reason, doesn't happen. We had 2 people. It looks like both Kaiser brothers picking them to win the West.
Win the West. Yep.
Yeah, they
So
did.
that Super Bowl hangover is something crazy. I mean, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Every year, because the teams, for the most part, you would think are going to be pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, aside from Garoppolo getting hurt, that hurts him hurts him more than kind of I think a lot of people expected it to, because kind of everyone kind of like pretty much poo-pooing Garoppolo quite a bit, but Mullins and Beathard are sure as shit ain't the answer.
Nope.
Well, they played most of the year without Bosa. They played most of the year without Kittle. That already
did have
killed them. Their starting
of
wide
injuries.
receivers were never there. Debo Samuel was the wide receiver.
Samuel was out a
Like
ton.
half the
Kittle was
game.
out a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I saw today that they finished like 11th in DVOA this year, even though they were like
I did
6
see
and
that.
10.
Yep.
That's
Wow.
crazy with all those
is.
injuries to still finish that highly.
I mean, that
Yeah.
running game did not miss a beat. That was the one consistent thing, is whoever was back there was breaking 100 at least, if not
Which they went
scoring
through like
5.
5 running backs too.
Right.
Yep.
Jeff
Mhm.
Wilson was a monster. Like the couple weeks of like down the stretch of the fantasy playoffs, he was just an absolute beast.
Yep.
Well, they had some guy I'd never heard of back there running one week.
Hasty,
Yeah.
James Hasty, or
Hasty
Michael
something.
Hasty?
Michael
Michael
Hasty.
Michael Hasty.
Like he was
Who
a
the
rookie.
hell's that guy?
I thought there was another one in there.
I mean, I'm sure there was.
They had
They were dropping
McKinnon,
like
they
flies.
had Hasty, they had Mostert, they had Wilson.
Coleman.
Tevin
somebody-
Coleman took some snaps.
Austin Walter,
Sure
Kyle
it is.
Juszczyk, Jerick McKinnon. Yeah, I mean it's just a wild amount. Of,
Who's who?
yeah,
Mhm.
and then next year will be who's that? Who was that?
Yeah.
I think one of the worst picks that we had was the fact that every single one of us had both Dallas and Philly in the playoffs. Every one of us in one way,
Yeah.
shape, or form
I'm
had
just now
Dallas
seeing
and
that.
Philly.
Yeah, that's shitty.
The NFC East strikes again.
My word.
Kitty and Rance both
Yikes.
had Dallas winning the East, which is looking better than the fact that the rest of us picked Philly to win that East.
True. I mean, Dallas took it down to the wire.
Yes, they did. And Philly did too, but on the wrong end of it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
It
pretty
was
bad.
It was pretty bad, but we also did okay. I mean, 10 out of 14 is not bad in the NFL playoffs. 17 weeks in a 2020 COVID-ridden season, we still got 10 out of 14. I think most of us were at least at 9 teams correct as well. So that's not bad. I mean, I'll take that.
Nobody believed in the Packers, but
No.
me.
I didn't even have them in the playoffs.
Me either. God,
Oh,
what an
really?
idiot. Yeah, we're both dum-dums.
That was the hangover I thought was coming.
Yeah.
I thought the fact that they didn't give Roger any weapons in the draft except for AJ Dillon,
True.
it might be a thing.
Look
Well,
like
he
it
went the
last
other
year.
way instead.
Big fuck you tour of 2020,
Yep.
courtesy of Aaron Rodgers.
Gonna win NFL MVP.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, let's get into the NFL playoff preview since we've shown that we know so much about the NFL in the future. Let's look at a little bit about the NFL playoff preview right now. Brian, what is the one matchup that you're looking forward to the most this weekend?
I think surprisingly, it's going to be Colts Bills for me because I know everyone's on the Bills jockstrap right now. They're on fire. The offense can't be stopped. So it's kind of the trendy pick right now to say the Bills are heading into the playoffs with the right momentum. But this Colts team, like I said earlier, they still just scare the crap out of me. They got a legit defense, and the Bills are actually 25th in the league on yards per carry given up on the ground. So if the Colts can stay, just don't let Phil lose the game for you. If you can just stay on the ground, slow the game down, keep the offense off the field. I know there's been tireless conversations right now about how you don't beat the Chiefs by, slowing the game down and slowing possessions. But maybe that is the case for the Bills because maybe Josh Allen starts pressing a little bit if the game slows down and you keep him off the field. He's got what Ryan Clark describes as an arrogant arm. He makes arrogant arm throws. That could get you in trouble in the playoffs. And we saw last year when they played Houston in the playoffs, he made some wild-ass decisions. And so I think that's still in there somewhere, and it's just a matter of when we might see it. Maybe he does just keep this train rolling, and he's awesome in the playoffs, but he would scare the crap out of me if I was counting on him in the playoffs as the favorite. So I'm saying watch out for those Colts. I think they're going to keep it close and maybe win the game.
I like that pick a lot. I meant to say back when I was talking about Mecole Hardman that he was the Josh Allen of kick returns because you live and die on every time he touches the ball back there.
Yep, that's fair.
Kitty, what's your number one matchup you're looking forward to this weekend?
Well, I'm hoping it's John Walford, the Rams, not Jared Goff's Rams. I like the Rams Seahawks. We're looking at those Rams Seahawks. I mean, McVay and Pete Carroll now 8 matchups, 5-3 to the Rams. Most of them, this last couple been the last 2 this year, low scoring games, defensive battles. I think they may have somewhat figured out each other's offenses.
Which is an interesting thing. I was saying the Seattle defense did anything good this year.
Yeah, they kind of came alive the last 5-6 weeks. I'm not sure. Didn't look too closely at who they played, but at least they shut down the Rams, which no easy feat all the times. So
true.
But Jamal Adams might be out. He's a little game time decision, so that could be a huge weapon out there for the Seahawks helping stop the run. And Walford, he adds an element to the offense where he can scamper, and that's just a little bit more helpful when
sneaky athlete.
Third down and long, everyone's covered. He can escape the pocket, maybe run for a first down here and there, extend the drive. Just a little nice weapon to have. If Goff's back there, God, that guy can't run. I don't know how these guys make the NFL running six flat 40s at QB. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, I think the Rams too match up really well with them because Ramsey basically can take away DK Metcalf, and then Aaron Donald is left alone in that interior to make Russell run for his life. I think it's a really interesting matchup too.
Yeah, it's fun. I just kind of at this point, which coach can coach up their offense enough to get the W. So I'm looking forward to seeing that battle right there. See who can break through enough times in offense to get those W's. So I like that game a lot.
2 very capable coaches that do that too.
Yep.
Rance, where are you at?
I wrote down the Steelers-Browns game just for the simple fact I want to see if the Browns just absolutely shit the bed. I almost feel like there's been so much talk, so much praise about them just getting there that, okay, we're here. Now we're going to get the shit kicked out of us. Baker Mayfield, he's decent at times. I know they can flat run the ball. I still think the Steelers, I think they're underrated. I really do. I think their defense is good enough. They led the league in sacks. They created about 40 turnovers. I think they're good enough where they can make a little bit of a run. They've got a trio of the best wide receivers in the league, I think. But they can't run the ball. Cannot run the ball at all. That's wild. Obvious. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. They just literally cannot run the ball. But I'm curious to see the Browns almost seem like in the biggest game that they've played in decades are already in shambles. People are getting COVID. Coaches are getting COVID.
All pro left tackles.
Yeah. I mean, we know they can run the ball, but I just want to see what Baker Mayfield does, honestly. I mean, they've squeaked out a win against Mason Rudolph, for Christ's sake.
Right. Yeah.
The Steelers were playing the JV team. They were for most of that game.
Yep.
And they barely won. They squeaked by, got into the playoffs. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh pummels them.
Pummels them.
Yep.
Especially
And they won't have
with
their
all
head
the COVID.
coach.
Yeah,
But
Stefanski's out.
They've credited with turning the offense around the second half of the year. Is there some kind of a spin zone there to maybe the
win one for
Steelers?
coach.
Yeah, they don't have any tendencies to study because they got a whole new play caller here. I don't know.
Could be. No, I saw something looking at that matchup too. Cleveland is 0-17 the last 17 games in Pittsburgh as well.
Oh no.
They've lost
Doesn't
17
bode
straight
well.
games in Pittsburgh.
No.
That's a rough one.
I was going to say, after that game, it sure looked like Cleveland had won the Super Bowl, considering how the players were kind of, I mean, Baker had a huge smile on his face.
Right.
I think they're
players
just happy to
dancing
get to the
around.
dance.
And
Yep.
that's fine. I'm happy that they're happy. Congratulations, Cleveland Browns. You're going to get your absolute faces punched and kicked and choked into your head.
And
this
I
week.
believe that line is still only moved to 6. So
It did. I just saw that right before we started. It started like at 3.5. And
Right,
since all
yeah.
this other news has come out throughout the day, it has moved to 6. And I'd still take the 6.
Still take the 6, yeah.
Yeah.
lay
And
the
I
6.
mean, I don't agree with. I think just the Steelers can score. I think they're super average at this point. They had a super soft schedule all year. They're the Patriots from last year in my head. So we'll see.
Could be.
I think it sucks that they get the Browns in COVID week, but whatever. it is what it is at this point. I'm looking most forward to the Tennessee and Baltimore matchup just because it seems like in my head they are the two scariest teams that the Chiefs could face, and we could see them in the divisional round. So being able to see those teams go at it, you've also got the revenge game for the Ravens from last year getting eliminated by the Titans. I think that'll be a fun little storyline to go in. And they also have the largest over under for the weekend at 54.5, I think is the last time I saw it. So could be some big time fireworks between those two offenses. And I could just see, I mean, the Tennessee defense is not great, but I think they do a pretty good job. They are a potent offense that can also run Derrick Henry down your throats for an entire game. So,
and we saw them earlier this year just exchange haymakers with each other.
Yes.
That was a fun as hell game to watch.
yep.
Mhm.
So I
Love
think
lost.
that would be a lot of fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think is that the Sunday noon?
Sunday, isn't it?
Yep.
That's Sunday. Yeah, early. Yeah.
Yep.
Bills Colts early, and then the.
That should have been the prime time game.
I agree. Yep.
Yeah, putting Washington at primetime is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Wow.
absurd. Just because of Tom Brady, that's the only reason
Oh,
why.
exactly. I think they showed Brady's was pretty mediocre this year in night games. Old man can't stay up that late.
Here we go.
That game should be on at noon. That ought to be the first freaking game on. Just
That
get
Washington
it out of the
football
way.
Cinderella story. His story might roll on.
It's true. That late start. I mean, a guy probably wakes up 4 a.m. He's so old.
Mm-hmm.
I hope
I
Chase
don't
Young
know.
eats his lunch.
That's what's going to have to happen. I mean, that front four is going to have to kill him
Yep.
if they're going
Right.
to have any chance because
Their offense is
Philadelphia
trash.
spoon-fed them a victory, and they didn't even want it. They just kept spitting out the food. I don't want it. I don't want it. I
Oh
don't
my,
want
oh my
this
God!
one.
Washington tried to lose that game so many times.
Oh my
yeah.
God, they did.
Yeah, if Hurts didn't leave the fourth quarter, pretty sure Philly wins that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's
Yep.
fair.
I think I haven't seen a official diagnosis, but I think Evans is questionable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean,
remember that.
his ankle thing was gross. But
Knee
it's gonna-
hyperextended.
Oh, it was the knee, wasn't it? Yep, that's right. That was disgusting to see. So it's very interesting that he's questionable. I can't imagine he's going to be super productive. So we'll see. But let's go to the Super Bowl predictions. I want both teams and a winner. I'm going to go first. I think I've said it a couple times, but think that I'm going to stick and solidify the Chiefs over the Packers in the Super Bowl in a barn burner. Give me Patrick Mahomes with a chip on his shoulder for losing the MVP, and give me the Chiefs covering whatever the spread is. I'm into it. But I also need to throw out a contrarian pick here. I need to buy a little bit of happiness insurance. So I'm going to say the Buffalo Josh Allens beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just because that's the most nauseating matchup I think I could probably imagine out of this core. So
Yuck.
I'm gonna go ahead and take the next day off of the Super Bowl and get hammered if that's the matchup I have to see on Super Bowl Sunday. So
You think
There
the
you go.
Bills are a worse matchup than the Browns?
oh, that's true. Yeah, because I think Josh
that
Allen's
would be
getting
just-
so much praise now. They're not going to give that praise for Baker. I mean, he could throw for 300 yards for 3 straight games, and he's not going to be on the Josh Allen level of shine that he's getting right now.
I just kind of got sick picturing Tampa Bay versus Cleveland uniform matchup. That would be disgusting. That red orange just not mixing well together. It'd just be gross.
And throw some
With
brown
some
in
brown.
there. Yeah,
Ugh. Ugh.
both sides get a little brownie in there. Rance, what's your prediction here?
I also picked Green Bay and Kansas City, but I could also I could see New Orleans getting there too. I think they're
Yeah.
the most equipped to beat Kansas City from the NFC
Could
because
be.
I think that defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
But I mean, Green Bay's rolling right now, and Kansas City with a couple weeks off, they don't seem, to show a whole lot of rust. I know when they played the Texans after having a break, they got down 24-0, but they just cruised after that. I mean, it might take them a little bit to get back in the game, but they seem to always fire on all
Figure it out.
cylinders. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, you're gonna have a Taysom Hill game in the playoffs somewhere. It's gonna happen. We know anything, it'll be a Taysom Hill game somewhere. Kitty, where are you at?
I went Packers over the Josh Allen Bills.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to repeat. I understand you guys fans, you're going to take your Chiefs, but
Mhm.
it's really hard to get back to Super Bowl year after year. And so I'm going to go with the new blood of the Bills and Aaron Rodgers getting back there again.
I think I saw their third favorites as far as odds go right now.
Matchup.
Right?
Yeah, that matchup was to pick the matchup of Super Bowls. That was plus 900.
Okay.
So 9-1. So yeah, pretty tight odds on that.
Yep. Brian?
I think we're going to see a couple of repeat matchups here. I think we're going to see the Saints play the Packers again, and I know we saw this game in like week 3 or 4 this year, and the Packers went down there and beat them at their
Handedly.
place. But I've been more impressed with the Saints team than I have the Packers team, if I'm being honest. So I think the Saints pull it out in the playoffs this time, and they go to the Super Bowl, and they match up against our Chiefs again. But once again, the Chiefs are going to come out on top. I was so impressed by that Saints defense and at all levels they have. I think that if they get anything from that offense, and when you talk about that, you talk about Michael Thomas being back, you talk about maybe Kamara getting going again. They've got some weapons that they've been lacking for a majority of the year, and they still won a hell of a lot of games without them. So if they get those guys back in any capacity, I mean, Michael Thomas is Drew Brees' safety blanket, and that offense could look completely different when they get everybody back and rolling. So if that happens, I could totally see them beating Green Bay and being in the Super Bowl.
I think I saw that Michael Thomas and Drew Brees have been in the same game 3 times this year.
That's wild.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, what did Thomas
Saints are
have? Was it
good.
just a turf toe, or what did he knee? What was his injury all year?
Turf toe was on the back end, right? That was the
Yeah.
second one.
The
First
high ankle
one,
sprain was the one that kept
Yeah,
him
the
out for
first one,
weeks
okay.
and weeks
Yeah.
And then he got 1 week of suspension, wasn't it?
for punching.
Yeah.
Donkey punching a teammate in the head.
But yeah, it did turn into like a different injury on the same leg, I believe.
Okay.
Interesting. Well, the last part of this preview is where's our money going, which is a little bit different than the Super Bowl winners because there's better value out there that could see coming. So, Brian, I'm going to have you start off with this. Where's your money going?
Well, I think I'm just going to have to double down because I feel like the Saints are not high up on as far as like getting great odds. I think you can get them around plus 750 right now. And I mean, I could totally see them winning it all. If someone knocks off the Chiefs, I think they would be favorites over almost every team in the AFC if they faced up against them. So I'll take Saints plus 750.
Okay, Kitty.
I went with a little more long shot. I took Tennessee at 30-1.
That's
kind of like them.
solid.
Just kinda,
Yeah.
I mean, they've got, like you said, like the game not as much defensive battle as it used to be, and they've got a great offense with the weapons they have. They got 2 wide receivers on the outside, Henry, and then they got Johnny Smith playing well. So I mean, they got the offense. So I kind of like them just as a long shot to win it all.
Yep, I like that. Rance.
I had written down the Bucks at about a plus 1,100, plus 1,200, somewhere in that area.
Yep.
I mean, you got to think that you like their shot against Washington in the first round. I mean, that offense, when it's clicking, is as good as any offense in the NFL. Their run defense is fantastic. You know, for the money, I mean, I think that'd be a good bet, you know, for them to have at least an okay shot at possibly winning it.
I had Tampa Bay as well, but I can also go Baltimore with plus 1,000. I think that would also be pretty. If that team gets hot, they have a decent defense. They could be a very potent offense. So they do have one of the better kickers out there, Justin Tucker. So I think they are a very complete team. And if they got hot, I think they could really roll through the playoffs as well. So give me the Ravens at plus 1,000. And we can.
That kicker point is not nothing, by the way. When you get in the playoffs, every game pretty much is going to be close, and if you got a kicker you can count on, it's not nothing.
Yeah.
Which I'm so glad. Go ahead, Kitty.
I was like surprised to see the other longer shot was Pittsburgh at 20-1. It's kind of a dark horse candidate too. There, with they kind of revert to their 11-0 form rather than their last 5 games. So
they somehow stop dropping every pass.
They got to get that Featherstone stick 'em.
I tell you, Deontay Johnson answered the bell this week, though. He made a couple of huge tough grabs in that game.
It's the easy ones he has trouble with.
Yes, he's right. Is he Dwayne Bowe?
Or Mondesi?
Yeah, Mondesi. That's our Royals talk for the week.
That's
got a little dig in there. So that's the NFL preview of the Super Wildcard weekend. So everybody enjoy the games. We'll be doing the same. Let's move on to the shenanigans. We've got a couple really good, really fun things coming out. We're starting with the Waiver Watch Waiting Game.
Waiver Watch Waiting Game. Waiver Watch Waiting Game.
This week, I told you last time we were going to start doing some themes to these movies and shows that we're picking. So this week I went with just a movie or a show that's memorable to you, whether it's some kind of seminal moment or just a really good line, just something that you can that's very memorable to you. So that's where we're going to go here. I'm going to go first. What we're going to do here is we're going to give the movie or show that we're coming up with, and then we're going to try to, while we're thinking about scores and stuff, we're going to try to think about the reason why it's memorable to you. So mine is a movie from 2001 called Original Sin. Angelina Jolie and Antonio Banderas, Thomas Jane.
Oh, goodness.
I did not watch this movie.
Yeah, I didn't either, but I got a pretty good idea. I feel like I know people that did watch it and talked about it. I think it was probably
the intense sex scene.
The Jolie Banderas, was it Banderas, whatever you said?
Yeah, they have a softcore porn love scene that just punches you right in the face.
Real filthy.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the most objectively attractive people on earth just going at it with each other in a movie that is not like a private movie. It's out there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought she was that great looking.
I didn't either, honestly. I never got on that boat, but she seemed to be a lot of people's number ones for a long time.
Too much John Voight in her features for you?
Josh, you chose this
Billy
movie.
Bob. Yeah, it was
exactly.
very memorable.
Yeah, Josh, you chose this. Like, I mean, you said in what year?
2001.
Oh, boy. What were you doing, big fella?
I mean,
10-year-old Josh, 12-year-old Josh.
A big cinephile here. Watched a lot of movies. Watched a lot of movies.
I've got my score.
I
I'm
liked
in.
movies. Let's start with Brian then. Brian, what's your guess on
This can't be
original
high.
sin?
I mean, it's just a matter of it's double digits or single digits for me. I'll say double digits, 17.
Okay. Let's go to Kitty.
I didn't go quite that low, but I didn't think it was very good either. I went 48.
Okay. Rance.
I put down 35%.
Okay. The audience score was a fresh 61%.
Yeah, that's all those teenage dudes clicking. I like this movie.
And the critic score was a 12.
All right.
There's a lot of people who
nice
thought that movie was pretty memorable, it sounds like.
I guess so.
A 12?
12%.
Ouch.
And I can confirm it was very bad. It was really bad.
Except for a scene or two.
Well, let's move on. The Brian, you're up. What's your memorable movie or TV show?
I'm going to take us back to 1986, boys. This is when it came out. It's probably not when I saw it for the first time, but the first time I saw Top Gun, I had a memorable moment. Kelly McGillis, Tom Cruise. My goodness.
Is that your first chub?
It made me feel a type of way I've never felt before, Josh.
There you go.
Bingley inside.
I thought maybe you were going to go with the Iceman Chomp. That's the seminal moment.
There are some different moments in there. It can be, but it is the take my breath away moment.
Mhm.
Yeah. I preferred the version in Hot Shots.
Yes.
I mean,
With the olive.
the olive on the ice cube when he's poop.
I mean, that chick
So
was super
good.
hot too.
She
Yeah.
was.
All right, I am in.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
All right. So Josh hasn't gone yet. Let's start there.
I went with a almost nice 68.
Okay. And we go to Rance.
I put down 80%.
Okay.
I mean, this is a classic.
It was
Oh yeah.
one of the best like group movies. Watch as a group.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Maybe play some shirtless volleyball.
Oh yeah.
Get my jeans on. I'm ready to go.
Give me some dog tags and some aviators.
I went even higher than Rance. I went with 88.
Ooh. Very interesting.
I bet the audience score might be pretty high, like an 88.
I bet audience might be in the 90s.
Yeah.
Audience score comes in pretty high, but not quite that high. 83 with the audience.
Mhm.
Ooh, almost Rance.
Critics. Rotten.
Ooh.
54%.
They hated it?
4.
54. I was
My
shocked when I
word.
saw that.
That is bizarre.
Take me to bed or lose me forever. I mean, come on.
Goodness
Singing
gracious,
some-
great balls of
singing some-
fire.
Singing the
Holy
Righteous Brothers in the
cow.
bar. Wow, I did not see that coming at all.
Bunch of
That's-
haters.
It's
Tell you what.
I am in real rough shape.
unfortunate. Yes, you are.
I can't believe that. Iceman and
Old
And
Goose,
Mav and Goose.
Hollywood.
Meg
Big
Ryan.
hitters. Memorable
Yeah.
lines. I mean, what more
It's
do you
got it
want?
all.
The principal from Back to the Future. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
That's probably the height of his career, right?
I think those two movies right there. That was it.
That's
Tom Skerritt.
Scarrett. Yeah.
I'll scare it.
Is Scarrett back for the remake? Is he
He's
alive?
surely dead, right?
Is
I don't know.
People look really old in the 80s, Rance. He could have been 32 in that movie.
I want
guy-
to know, is Kilmer going to be in the remake? Because
I
he's
think
had
he
some
is.
serious health issues.
Yep, I think he was confirmed in the remake. Yeah,
That's good.
Wow.
he better show up as like the alcoholic that couldn't get over and deal with his PTSD, so he turned to the bottle.
There you go.
He'll win an award for that. I think Brian is in the lead, but let's go with Rance. He's not in bad as shape as Kitty is. So Rance,
Right,
what's
yeah.
your
That makes
what's your round there?
Yeah, I like
Okay. All right. So I did not go with a movie. Okay, I went with one of my favorite TV series of all time, and that's Dexter.
Okay.
Okay. So there was an event from season 4 with John Lithgow as the Trinity Killer.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an event, since I've watched Dexter through a couple different times, that scene where he kills Rita and Dexter doesn't know, and then Dexter kills Trinity and comes back and he finds Rita in the bathtub.
Yep.
Killed.
Yeah.
I never thought like a main character like that,
Oh yeah.
who
That
hadn't
was
been around for more than a couple seasons, got offed. That was crazy to me. So that really stood out to me.
right, because that was basically Dexter's center to keep him going completely insane for the most part.
That's right. You know, so that really stood out to me.
That was
that
shocking.
Series.
Shocking when I saw that.
Crazy.
That was great.
Are we doing the score for season 4 then?
You're doing the score for season 4 only.
Okay.
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 Yep, I'm in. I should probably go crazy low, just try to win.
Yeah,
See what happens. But I don't think it's gonna matter.
Everybody ready here?
Yep.
Yep.
Brian,
Who are we going with first? Brian? Okay.
Okay, I'm going high here. I feel like it's high because Lithgow. I mean, it was a great season and people were on board, and they hadn't had a bad season yet. I don't think so. People were still liking it. I'm going with 82.
Okay. Got that down.
I wrote down the same, so let's go with me then.
Okay. Perfect.
Josh, go ahead.
I actually went higher for all the reasons, but all the reasons Brian said, but I think it was even more accepted. You only had the Dexter fans watching it at that point, with it being on Showtime. So the only people watching it are the people that wanted to watch it, and it hadn't disappointed up to that point. And Lithgow was the best villain that show had.
Oh man, those dinner table scenes. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. So I went with a 96.
Ooh, nice.
Okay.
I like
Nice.
that.
Well, Josh, you nailed the 96 on the audience score.
Nice.
Okay, they loved it, and looking through, the Dexter seasons, this is by far the highest rated season.
Can see that.
There's a couple seasons like season 6 and 7.
Yeah, were they rotten?
They stunk. But the critics also really enjoyed this season, and they had 88%.
Ooh, okay.
So real close there, fellas.
Yeah.
Early.
Dang, it didn't get high enough.
All right, down to Kitty for the moneymaker here.
All right. I am pretty much dead in the water, so good to have me go last here on my movie so you guys can battle it out first. I went also to 1986. But I went with I saw that in the theaters. That was so good. But I went instead with Back to School.
Oh,
Little Rodney Dangerfield, Sam Kinison.
Yeah. Were those
the
shower scene?
Is he the diver? Is he diving?
He goes back to college, hang out with his son more because his wife just divorced him, or he caught his wife cheating on him, and so he decides to go back to school to hang out with his kid. And his kid's just a weasel. But
that had some good laughs.
It's got William Zabka in it. Yeah, and then the sport they're playing, the sport is diving.
Diving, I remember that. The diving board scene with Dangerfield is hilarious.
Yeah, and he's doing like
the old triple Lindy.
Uh-huh.
That's that when I was a kid, I thought that was the greatest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Like I just wanted to go down to the local pool and see anyone try that and do it in person. That's how it was the funniest, most amazing. When he licks his thumb and holds it in the air to catch figure out which way the wind's blowing.
Got to make sure that wind is blowing just right.
Just right, exactly. Oh, it's so funny. I love that.
That's great.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start with this.
Surely the critics hated that movie. Okay, I got it.
All right,
you guys all in?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know who's in what place now. So who's?
I think Brian is in first still.
All right.
So I go first.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll start with you.
I mean, I enjoyed the movie, but I feel like Dangerfield, you either love him or hate him. And there's probably some haters out there. I'm going to go barely fresh at 62.
All right.
I thought that it was going to be lower than that for sure. I went with a 46.
46.
How
All
many
right,
how
Rand.
many no respects did Dangerfield get off in that movie? Because my guess is 46 is why I picked 46.
Okay.
Could be around there. Could be around there. All right, Rance, where were you at?
I was right in the middle of those two. I put 52%.
All right.
In
So,
the middle.
audience score with a 68.
Ooh. Okay.
Critics, 86.
No shit.
Oh, wow.
Just out of the, I was shocked when I saw
You're
it was that high.
shitting me.
That's insanely high for back to school.
Wow.
That's
And the audience is so
Oscar-worthy.
low.
Yep.
Yeah, with the audience, I can't believe the audience is lower than that. I mean,
Got a lot of diving enthusiasts, a lot of crossover with film
this-
critics.
oh no way, this is no one can do a triple Indy. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. That could be. How could that be the climactic scene? That's ridiculous.
Those should have been flipped for sure.
Wow.
Oh my.
That was
86 with
amazing.
the critics.
Brian had a hell of a week
Yeah.
coming out with a score of 35, and you got 24 points on that last round. So
Yeah.
really, really solid score. I came in second with 57, followed by Kitty's 76 and Rance's 83. So
Oh, I stunk it up.
you actually,
Both stunk it up at the end
Kitty
there,
actually did throw us off enough to get third place on that round.
I was a I went with the movie first. I didn't even know what the critic score was going to be, and then
Sure.
that was a shock to the system at 86.
Yep.
Mind blowing.
Yep.
That was back to school. I guess I gotta revisit that apparently.
Yeah.
Some great Dangerfield in there.
Uh-huh.
Really,
I
good
wonder if
stuff.
it holds up. I do genuinely wonder if it holds
And
up.
if
in that.
the love interest for the kid is the Reggie
Oh,
from
Derek.
Becker.
Oh wow. Okay.
She watched the TV show Becker.
Teddy dancing.
With dancing.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, let's get into the Q Trade Cup for this week.
Just keep track, cut, don't give it to you. It's Tuesday night, we're in the spot. Yeah, don't believe it, just
And
watch.
since Brian won the Waiver Watch Waiting Game, he's going to lead off the Q Trade Cut this week. This week I got, in honor of The Office leaving the Netflix, in the famous "Are you still watching" screen, I wanted to figure out an algorithm-based lifestyle of the algorithm is either going to pick what you're watching at all times, what you're listening to at all times, or what you're eating at all times. So we're going to keep trade cut each one of those. We're going to obviously trade for something else that we want an algorithm to choose for us. But Brian, what do you got for keep trade cut on this one?
I am going to first cut my logarithm for what I eat because I feel like there's too many things that I need to be in the mood to eat. I'm not always in the mood to eat soup. I'm not always in the mood to eat sushi. Not always in the mood to eat barbecue. I got to be in the right mood.
You're not always in the mood to eat barbecue.
No, man.
That's a shock right there. That's the upset of the century.
I can eat that for breakfast.
I
Come on.
gotta hope the algorithm's got a little some sense, but maybe not. Hey, it's true. It might have no sense at all.
I don't know. So I just for that reason, I got to be in the mood for some food. So I don't want to leave it up to the computer. I am going to trade what I watch because Netflix does a decent job sometimes, but I also watch way too much garbage to where it thinks that I'm going to like real garbage that's just not for me at all. So I got to trade it to somebody else because it probably reads somebody else a lot better. And I'm going to have it decide what brands I buy because I already do this on Amazon. If you get online and you say, I want to buy a car seat, you know how many car seats there are to buy. I just needed to say Amazon's choice right up there. And I say, okay, got 4.5 stars out of 5. Can't be that bad, right? Bring it to me. I don't need to research all this shit. Just give me Amazon's choice. Give me the algorithm choice. And I just saved like an hour doing research on shit.
Okay.
And so that means I'm going to keep the listen to.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Spotify does a pretty good job. And usually put it on as background entertainment anyway. So I'm not paying attention to lyrics or really anything. I just want it does a good job of relating to what I usually listen to. So if it's gets me onto a new artist or something, that's all the better. So I'm gonna keep what I listen to.
Okay. I'm going next. I was second in the Waiver Watch Wating Game. I'm going to actually keep the choosing when I'm eating, because legitimately that is the toughest decision that our family faces every night. What the hell we're going to eat? I mean, not even our children are too young to put input in, and it's still very hard between the two of us, my wife and I, to be able to figure out what the hell we're eating for the night. It's usually something easy. I feel like you could also tweak the algorithm a little bit, because I mean, you'd be like, I don't want to eat this. I do want to eat this. On a scale of 1 to 10, sliding scale is how much I want to cook. I think that could get figured in. What we have in the house, keep an inventory of what you have in the house. Oh, hey, pizza rolls again. Awesome. We did it, guys. My one, I'm on a scale of 1 to 10 of how much I want to cook. It's a 1 all the time. So I feel like having somebody figure out what I'm eating every night make a life a whole lot better. The inverse of that is I'm cutting the music algorithm, because we share a Spotify account as a family, and there's on my 2020 wrap up, half of it was Daniel Tiger songs, which throws off my entire algorithm. I have no idea what it is now. It is just absolutely shot at this point. So I'm cutting the music algorithm, get it out here, and I'm trading the what to watch as well. Seems like it's a tough decision that we always have as well in this house, but I feel like I could have a better grasp on it than what we're eating. So I'm going to trade an algorithm that's just going to choose my best bets for the week, because Christ almighty, I can't get one right. So just tell me where to throw my money at this point. I don't care.
Yep.
Just tell me where to put it. I clearly don't know.
I like it.
Let's
we're all kind of in the same boat there.
Yeah. Kitty. Keep trade cut.
I'm going to go with Josh on the keep. I'm going to keep what it tells me to eat. I mean, I don't have a real extensive menu either at my place. Being a single guy by myself here, it's pretty easy. But at the same time, just going to the store, picking out groceries, doing all that. I hate it. It's terrible. I'm
Kitty needs a
still
meal
waiting.
planner.
I'm still waiting for the here's a pill. This is your meal for today. Just eat this pill and you are good to go. Please make that happen. Come on.
Was that the Jetsons that had that?
Yeah, I think that's how that worked there on that show. I mean, that just sounds amazing. Or like Willy Wonka, give me the gum, turn it to a blueberry, all good.
Yep. Roll Kitty's ass out of his apartment
That's right.
to get him out on the golf course.
Gotta get juiced again. So with that, I'm gonna cut what it tells me to watch. No, not gonna happen. I have very discerning taste. Very discerning taste. So I do watch some really weird stuff once in a while, and I don't want to be stuck in Weirdsville forever.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Where like Original Sin.
Right, or I'm watching some highfalutin movie once in a while. I don't need to be stuck on Oscar movies for 7 straight weeks in a row.
Oh yeah.
Like some are just trash anyway. So I don't need that to happen. So I'm going to trade what I listen to. Spotify does a good job, so I think that's some value there with trading what I listen to. And I'm going to have it tell me what I should wear each day.
Yep.
Pick out my outfits every day. Just another decision I don't have to make for myself. Sounds great. Here, take this polo, this pair of jeans, this pair of shoes. You're done. Perfect.
Yep.
Easy peasy.
That's the other beauty about working from home is
I wear sweatpants
what you're wearing is
every
what
day.
you get. Yep.
What's that I want to call? I guess I could wear a better t-shirt.
Right. I can push my hair to the side to make it look like I styled something.
Right, exactly.
Yep. Very good. Rants.
I mean, I should go full Michael Kors and just buy all the same outfit.
Yep.
Just be done with it.
I think our boy Jason Mantzoukas does that.
Yeah, he does. He just wears the jeans and the white button down.
Up. Yep. Rants, what do you got?
I'm going to keep as well what to eat. I'm kind of with you, Josh. It's kind of always a battle around my house because my wife, she usually works till 5:30 or 6, and what are we going to eat? Larie's got to eat something. I want some just tell us what we're going to eat. I'm not, I don't want to fight it a lot. My wife usually wants to eat something healthy. Well, I don't necessarily want to eat broccoli and cauliflower. Maybe I just want to eat meat, or something.
Sure.
It's been a battle back and forth for years because, we want to try to eat at a decent time, but she works late. So if we just already know what we're eating, boom, we can just get it done and be done with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut what to watch because now having a little one, most of our TV is now, if she's not asleep, I'm watching freaking Coco Melon. I'm watching goddamn Puppy Dog Pals. I'm watching Tots
these made
delivery
up?
service. No, this shit is real, man. This is on Disney Junior. This is the kind of stuff that's.
What was the last one you said? Something about delivery service?
It's called Todd's Tiny Delivery Service or something. It's this penguin and this flamingo deliver babies to the parents.
Sure, they do.
Oh, it's got great life lessons about helping and stuff like that. But I've seen it way too many times.
Interesting. Okay.
And I'm going to trade what to listen for or what to listen to. And I'm going to trade it for, since I'm a teacher, I would like to show up to work every day and just know what I'm teaching. Like, you know what I mean? Like something already set up for me. I am so sick of lesson planning and thinking about, oh God, have I taught this? Do I need to teach this? Where are we at? I just show up. Here's what you're teaching, Mr. Wade, for today. Okay, I can handle that. And then I just, get that done and I'm out of there at 4:00. That's a lot of, a lot of
That's a good one.
Yep. I like
That's
that.
a really good one.
It'll save me hours.
We're all about making our lives easier here, and that would 100% improve your professional life for sure.
It would.
Man, that's a good pick. I thought it would. When I was thinking about this, I was like, man, I probably shouldn't have put the food algorithm in there because I feel like that's a too easy one. But Brian did not think he did not think that was the case.
Nah, I'm a mood guy, I guess. I didn't know I was.
Yeah, no, I makes sense.
Very interesting.
I'm the opposite. I'm not a mood guy. I'm just what's in the house guy.
I mean, who was not in the mood to eat barbecue?
I'm basically getting forced to eat whatever I have in the house, so I can't have too many wild moods.
Leftover gumbo on a 110-degree day. I'll sit outside and eat that.
I am in.
Piping hot bowl of gumbo.
That's absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Let's move on to the waiver wire draft here. Kind of mentioned it earlier that there was some very fun plays this weekend that kind of reminded me that we should just do a draft of our favorite types of plays that are in sports. So we're drafting our favorite plays, and we're going to stick with that keep, trade, cut, and the waiver wire order there with Brian, then me, and then Rance, and then Brian, me, then Kitty, then Rance. So Brian, what's your 101 pick? What's your favorite play of sports?
I think in all of sports, I think the one that gets me going the most is a walk-off dinger. I mean, because usually the people in the crowd are standing up, everyone's jacked up, juiced up, and you hit that dinger, and the result is over. It's not a time, the clock going down. It's just over. There's no review. There's nothing that's going to prevent you from just losing your mind. So give me the walk-off dong.
I like that.
Yeah,
always fun.
Get a little improvement if it's like just barely out to where the ball is like long and high and you're just left hanging waiting for it to come down. I think so.
I want the bat toss with that walk-off dinger.
Oh yeah. I want Soler to put one in the Hall of Fame and give a bat flip.
I'm gonna go with my first pick is I think I got to go with a bases loaded drive deep to the foul pole because it might be a no doubter or it might be just barely out, but you're hanging them on a moment waiting for that umpire to make the signal. Up. Boy, you are very, very tight. And it's just, you're waiting to either just go nuts or just fall to the floor in defeat. But I think that bases loaded drive to the foul pole is my favorite play in sports.
So you love anxiety.
I mean, most of my picks are where are plays that I'm just not breathing until the play has been decided. I've kind of used that as the driving force behind my draft board here.
All right.
So, Rance, where are you at on your first pick?
I think it's Kitty.
Or I'll go.
I'm
I'll do
last.
Rance.
Oh, you're right. Because you're
I'm
right.
going to stick with the baseball theme as well, and I'm going to go with an outfielder or even an infielder running into the stands to make a catch or diving into the stands.
Yep.
Just incredible to see something like that. I mean, just I'm making this catch, and if I bash my face into some fans or into some seats, doesn't matter. I'm getting the out. It's like when old Alex Gordon did that in Chicago.
Yep.
Was a great one. I mean, just going full bore, ball is out of play, but you just crash into the seats, which we almost were getting close to that not being a play anymore with the all the nets getting lined up along all these stadiums. So that might be one forgotten to time itself after this season.
Mm-hmm. I like that a lot. All right, Rance, now it's your turn.
I went with a buzzer beater jumper.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite plays. Just especially in March Madness time, man, there's nothing better to get you out of your seat when your team's got a possession at the last. They pull up for three or hit a jumper off a tip out or something like that. Underdog wins. I mean, that's some of the most fun, most exciting plays you're going to see. Is a nice butter beater.
Butter beater.
I think probably the best one of those was probably that Valpo round one in the NCAA tournament. I remember I was on the phone with someone, and right as it happened, I jumped out of my chair and screamed. It may have caused some mild deafness in the other person's ear on the other side of the line, because it was just a phenomenal play.
It was a work
Or
call.
they can rip your heart out with the Tyus said, and he wasn't a jumper, but went coast to coast for the layup over Buck Grimm, doing nothing to try to deter him and getting beat that year. Now UCLA was a 1 seed that year.
Yeah. You'd be hard pressed to find a better 30 minutes of sports than March Madness, when you have a slate of games all coming down to the wire, and you got 2 or 3 really close games kind of going back and forth. It's hard to press to find a better half hour, 2 hour round of sports than that.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Rance, kick off round 2 here.
My next favorite play is I put down a Hail Mary. And I know they don't happen a lot as far as they work out, but this year when I was watching that Cardinals Bills game,
oh goodness,
I had no dog in the fight in that game. It was just watching the end of a game, of a late game, and that throw by Murray and the catch by Hopkins. I mean, that just got me out of my chair. I mean, that was amazing. And a few years ago, I think when the Packers were in Detroit, Rodgers throws that bomb that his backup tight end catches. I mean, like I said, they don't work out very often, but when they do, man, they are exciting
magical
plays. Yeah.
That is definitely on my on my board for sure.
Oh yeah.
Kitty.
I'm going to go with one we kind of see quite a bit anymore, seems like, and I'm going with the doink off the upright. I love it. It just, especially when it's kicked really hard and hits it, and you get that real solid
resonating
reverberation of the goalpost itself. Just that noise is phenomenal. And sometimes you get even lucky enough where you hit a double doink off. Which was, just take it to the next level.
Double doink.
Wasn't there a college kick this year, the triple doink?
The triple doink, yeah. Rice maybe kicked it. And
White Buffalo.
I'm almost, it gets to a point where I'm rooting for the ball to hit the upright.
Oh yeah.
When it's not my team. I just want that. I even like it when it hits the upright and goes in. I just want it to hit the upright. But they really got to
this week.
Oh my God, just clinching it. Yeah, just measured it just right. But they've got to do a better job. They got to do a better job. They almost need to start showing the angle, a different angle.
Yeah. Yep.
Just because every time it hits the upright, as a fan, you're just kind of like, what happened? If it kicks to the side, you have no idea what happened. And so it's just kind of looking at the ground, see where it lands, and hope it. I just love a doink.
That was honestly the inspiration of this waiver wire draft for sure.
I just love them.
I'm gonna go with the good old tip drill in football. Whenever the ball gets batted up in the air and you know that there's 5 guys underneath it. God, I think that is one of my favorite, because you can't this is gonna be the standard of my draft board. I don't breathe for that 1 to 3 seconds that it's batted up in the air, waiting for someone to get under it and take it to the house.
I think that's called a fetish.
Edging, is that
right? Or even when the ball falls to the ground on a tip drill, it's still exhilarating. Especially, it's even better when the ball gets tipped up solid 15 feet high, and then it still falls to the ground.
Yeah.
Where'd the ball go? And all of a sudden, it just lands right next to somebody. I guess never saw it.
Yep. Brian, second pick.
Give me the teabag dunk, like you saw Vince Carter do to that Frenchman in the Olympics. It's very, very rare. But if you get a teabag dunk on someone, it's just the death of that person. They're just done playing basketball forever.
Complete dominance.
Oh my God.
They have to stop playing entirely.
Yep.
like that.
You took a tip pass and I took a teabag.
That was definitely on my list.
Teabag.
That was on my list. I didn't call it a teabag dunk. I went just to go more the colloquial posterizing. but I like
Posterize,
the,
yeah.
like teabag dunk.
Nice little addition. Kickoff round 3.
All right. I'm going to go similar to Rance's, but I actually, instead of the Hail Mary, I actually like the lateral fest at the end of the game.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Because it can be a real gambler delight, whether you need to cover if the defense to recover it or somehow they miraculously ladder up and go on the field. I mean, if you have the point spread and it's close, you are puckered right there, buddy.
I remember that. What was it? There's that Pittsburgh game that happened one game with Pittsburgh. I know the Chiefs had one. Was that the Chiefs Washington?
I don't
Win.
remember.
I can't remember, but there was one where I think the Chiefs had a game where they had a lateral fest or a safety after one play of a quarterback trying to do something stupid and the fumbles in the end
I think
zone.
the Chiefs recovered one and covered, right?
Yeah, okay.
The
That
Chiefs are
sounds
the one
right.
that benefited from it, I believe.
Yeah, I think they are.
But yeah, when those laterals
Those are
start
fun.
going, yeah, that's when it's like, okay, here we go. You hope your team's not involved because it's just entertaining to watch as an outside point of view, but you know somebody's living and dying with every one of those laterals.
And then you can kind of see when the offense starts to give up a little bit too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Really not into those last few laterals.
Yep.
Somehow an offensive lineman ends up with it and just doesn't know what to do with it.
Exactly.
Didn't the Dolphins beat the Patriots a couple years back on multilaterals like
They
that?
put Gronk at safety.
And he
They
got,
put
yeah.
they put like six
torched
guys
the
on the
sideline.
they put 6 guys on the goal line, and Dolphins just started running up the field and
Mm-hmm.
made a
Kenyon
couple
Drake
quick
took it
plays.
to the house.
It's like an old rugby play.
Yep.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I don't want to give away picks yet.
Yeah, don't do that. No. My third pick is the old Heaves full court shot in basketball. I don't care if it's NBA or some toddler league. I will sit there and I could watch an absolute loop of just heave after heave after heave. They don't have to make it. It doesn't have to be qualified as a make anytime. I will love that highlight reel. Just let me watch heaved full court shots all day long.
Yep.
Give me Patrick Mahomes as a 10-year-old just winging it from one side of the court. I'm into it. I don't know whose turn it is at this point between the
Kitty.
two. Kitty's turn.
If it's mine, I'm gonna go back to the old baseball diamond. And I love the old suicide squeeze.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Love it. Love when that guy
Love
takes
it,
off third base and then gets the bunt down and just the defeat on the defense is great. It's like, they just stole home base, to be honest. It's great. You don't see it very much anymore just because don't have a lot of guys that can pull off the bunt in that kind of pressure situation. So
Yep.
it's pretty nice to see once in a while. I don't want to happen much. I just, that once or twice a season's enough for me. But it's just nice little edge of your seat thriller moment right there for me.
Especially in the postseason. It seemed like there was one in the postseason a couple years ago that was amazing. I can't think of the teams that did it, but
Probably the Cardinals. They seem
That's
to do
exactly
it.
what I was
Seems
going
like
to
the
say.
Cardinals. Seems like it. Rance?
I chose the baseball one as well, and I like the old. And this play used to be a lot better when you could plow the catcher over. The old tag up to third.
Yeah.
That's always an exciting play for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter really. I mean, especially when the game's close or it's getting down the stretch. Somebody hits one to left field or center field, and they come charging in and crow hop and try to gun it in, and some of them are way off, and some of them are on target, and it's a fun play to watch. Like I
God
said,
bless
it's a lot
those
more
throws
fun
that are
when
way off. Those are so fun.
that
Just go
sail
winging
halfway
into
up the
the-
net or into the
Yeah.
dugout.
I always enjoyed Beltran doing the flip post throw too.
Yeah.
The
He was
tug and
giving
roll.
The tuck and roll post rows was fun to see.
Yeah.
They're trying to do quite a bit.
It's a fun play to watch. And like I said, it was more fun when they allow them to have some collisions in there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I understand why they took those out. but,
Sure.
man, there'd be some
Yeah.
brutal ones.
Brutal
Man, there'd be
hits.
some brutal hits.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Final round. Kick us off.
Yeah, and for my last pick, which I knew I'd be able to get, because it has to do with golf, and it's not a hole in one, but I like watching down the stretch like a guy having to hit a clutch putt to win a tournament or to tie to go into a playoff. You just see kind of, some of those guys, oh man, they get the yips real bad. There's a ton of money obviously on the line. They might miss a 5-6 footer by a couple feet, not play the break, maybe run it by and have one just as far coming back. So it's always fun to kind of see for me, because I watch a lot of golf, like how some of those guys adjust to pressure, and when you're putting for that much money on the line, it's insane to me too. So.
Yeah, when you just keep seeing Poulter hit that center of the cup and the Ryder Cup, you can't get enough of
Dead
that.
center, yeah. Just sticking it to the Americans.
Those dirty Americans.
Filthy Americans getting beat by the sweet Euros every time.
Considering how in your own head you can get in golf in general, but then you throw millions and millions of dollars on top of it.
Yeah.
It's just wild how mentally strong some of those people are.
Boy, that's why you see 8,000 different putter grips now.
Yeah.
I mean, all these, I don't think anyone starts using the claw grip when they're 5 years old.
Yeah.
That comes from, I keep missing these 7-foot, 8-foot putts late in rounds because I just can't. So they all of a sudden,
Can't
well,
handle
if I try this, it's a weird motion. That's got to help.
It's just a catalyst. Just a catalyst. Kitty, what's your final pick?
All right, I knew I'd get this one late too because I'm going to the world of bowling.
Oh.
And I love it when that messenger comes across and destroys a 10-pin. You got that moment of like, oh, son of a bitch. I thought I was going to get a strike. And all of a sudden, here comes a head pin screaming across the lanes and destroying the 10-pin. It's just a great feeling. Looks so cool too. Feels like a real pro when that happens. It feels great. Feels great when that messenger comes flying through. Like, it's damn straight in your face, 10-pin.
That's you also get some build up to it too.
Yeah, because that split second, you're like, well, now I got to pick up a 10-pin.
Yep.
You're pissed, and then you're just elated.
Yeah, that pick was safe.
It was safe.
You did it right this time. Leave it till the end.
I should have taken it first round just to really just have some fun.
I'm gonna shock the world here.
Let's go.
I got another golf shot for you. Me, not a big golf guy, but one of my favorite plays in sports is when it's an approach shot on a big green with a big sloping to the hole, and they got to run that entire green to get to it. Give me a long roll to the hole that you're just like, I could go. It got. Ooh, Tony Romo. Ooh, yeah. I feel like that's just another clincher where you're build up. Oh,
Yeah, where you know that last slope is where you have to get just to the edge of it and have it to trickle off it. Yeah.
I could
I
live
like
and die on those shots for a
Those are fun.
long time. Into it. Brian, send us home with this final pick.
What a shocker of a pick that was, Josh.
Let's go.
I told you.
Come on. All right, Josh or BK, we got 2 golfs, 1 bowling. So another bowling.
Yeah,
pick
what
from
do you got then?
Well, I'm just
Come
going to
on.
stay super predictable then. I'm going football and a play they're basically trying to get rid of. And I just love seeing guys get blown the fuck up when they're going across the middle. I mean, I'm picturing like Sean Taylor and Brian Moorman in the Pro Bowl when he fake punted and Sean Taylor just killed him. I mean, just sitting
Golly.
lying.
He was having none of it.
Destroyed him.
He was having none of it. This is a Pro Bowl, people.
That's
You don't
Pro Bowl.
Scalping people.
Pro
He is-
Bowl infamy.
ESPN used to do a segment called Jacked Up, and they just show players getting fucked up, going across the middle. And I mean, I understand why they're
Everybody's too
trying
soft now.
I understand why they want to get rid of it, but I still loved it when it happens. It's just so cool to watch. Just
You can't hit
clean
anybody
closing.
hard in football anymore.
Yeah.
Not
At all.
Especially not Kirk Cousins for the Lions.
Don't land on them too hard.
Yeah, it's and
Pathetic.
if it's in college football, you're getting ejected as well.
Immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how it goes now. Well, I like that draft. A lot of good picks in there,
Fun.
and I dig the banter per usual with that. Time to move on to the best bet of the week. My favorite segment. Hey, it's a best bet.
You've done it terribly wrong.
I mean, that might be my personal best bet theme song.
I'm up there with you.
I'd done it terribly wrong.
Made a
Last
huge
week,
mistake.
I was the only one that did not hit. My system failed me. The Bears plus 5.5 against the Packers. How did it fail me?
Don't know.
It just
Dun,
seems like
dun.
it should have been just a lock of the century if there ever was one. The Bears were stuck with them until about 9 minutes into the fourth quarter. So whatever. I'm not bitter on it. But Brian, you won both your bets. You doubled up.
That's right.
You pulled them both out, and
Nice.
you're a positive in the money now.
Yes.
Well done. 9-8 for Brian, 7-11 for Brian or for Kitty after his Washington football team covered the 1.5.
the sweat.
Somehow, yeah, you were
Thank you,
sweating big time.
Thank you, Doug Peterson.
Yes.
So you're at 7-11. I'm at 7-10. Rance, you're at 5-4 for the week. Why don't you go ahead and start us off, bud, with your best bet?
Well, I'm going back to that Steelers Cleveland game.
Okay.
Like I said, Steelers -6. I mean, Kitty drops a bombshell that the Browns are 0-17 when they go to Heinz Field. I mean, good God. I mean, I didn't know they were that bad. I mean, like I said, I think the Browns are just happy to get in. Now they're in some trouble.
Yeah.
COVID again. Baker Mayfield, can you really trust him? I think the Steelers, and I've been wrong on this several times.
Four times.
4 times, but I really think the Steelers will win this game by double digits.
Okay. For the record, you've missed your last 2 picks, so I
I've
mean,
struggled.
you're down there in the dumps with me, so not quite as bad. I've missed my last 5. No big deal. We're not counting here. Kitty, what's your best bet for the week?
Well, I'm going to the Tennessee Titans being a home dog,
Mhm.
getting 3.5 against the Ravens. I mean, they beat them 28-12 last year in Baltimore in the playoffs, and they beat them 30-24 in OT this year. I think that was, I don't know if that was in Baltimore or Tennessee.
It's in
but
Tennessee, I thought. Wasn't it?
Okay.
Maybe not.
But they
Last
won
year
that
was
one.
in Baltimore.
Playoffs were in
Yeah.
Baltimore. The regular season matchup was in Tennessee. They get them at home
Yep.
again. I don't understand the line at all, which means Baltimore wins by 30. Book it. But I'm taking Tennessee plus 3.5. I just don't get it. I mean, these teams, I just feel like maybe Vrabel's got something to slow down that Ravens offense a little bit more than people realize. And I like them to take that. I like them to win outright even. I'd say
Yeah.
sprinkle the money line.
Yep. I think that's there's definitely validity to that. Brian, best bet.
I got 2 again this week, Josh. I'm
my.
getting
Oh,
greedy.
man.
Let's go. I'm going back to my Colts-Bills game that I just feel good about the Colts. Everyone's talking up the Bills. Everyone's going to be on the Bills. This Colts team gets forgotten. That it's not your typical 2 versus the last seed matchup. We're talking about a Colts team that's won 11 games. They're one of the few teams that beat the Packers this year. They've had some letdown games against teams that weren't very good, but they've kind of shown up against games with good teams. So I think they've got the recipe to go in there and get it done. Cover the 6.5. That's all I'm asking to do. Cover the 6.5. Keep it close. You don't have to win it. And I think Alabama, Ohio State's going to be a bloodbath. I think they're winning by at least double digits. So I'm saying lay the 7.5 with Alabama. They're getting back Jalen Waddle. It's insane to me that they may get a first-round talent back this week in a game that they're already going to probably win. So, I mean, you just give them that much more firepower to throw to. I just think this offense is just too good. Fields is already kind of banged up, and I've always been kind of sour on him since his senior year when he was on QB1. And it seemed like anytime his team started to lose, he would tell the coach, pull us out. We don't want to get injured. And I've had a bad taste in my mouth ever since, because I have never in my life seen a player go to the coach and say, take me out. I don't want to get injured.
Sure.
We need to keep me safe. And that's just, It's just always left a sour taste in my mouth. He's a different person by now, I'm sure, but he's going to be down double digits once again, and he's going to feel like he wants to come out of this game. I feel like.
I'm kind of surprised someone at his talent level would struggle so much in high school games. To be getting asked to be pulled out so much. That's a little surprising.
Yeah, he was kind of on one of the exceptions on that show where he wasn't on like a loaded team. He didn't go to a team that's like a loaded like.
He didn't go to a prep school somewhere to get on a
right.
ridiculously good high school football team.
Exactly. Yeah. It was kind of him and a couple other guys that were pretty good players, and the rest were average. So when they went up against those loaded kind of schools, they kind of got beat up a few times. So that was his situation in high school. I love QB1 as a whole, though. God, I love it.
Getting a little greedy with 4 bets in 2 weeks, but I mean, I'm not here to judge. It worked.
He's got them both rated as his 5% plays this week. He's ready to go.
Sometimes you just can't choose the best one. You just have to go with the 2 best ones.
I can't handle having a winning record, Josh. I have to.
That's true.
Go down to the ball. Flames.
Just lay it down. To me, there's only one lock of the week for this, and it's whatever I don't pick. It's the opposite of whatever I do pick. So go ahead and fade me. But I did pick a game. I'm going to go back with the Bears covering 8.5 against the Saints.
Wow.
I think that depending on how Alvin Kamara is with his COVID positive, I think I've seen that he's asymptomatic, but he is still positive. If this game was on Saturday, that's within his 10-day window that he would not be able to come, but it is on a Sunday. So he will play. We'll see how he what he's feeling like, what he looks like at that point. We'll see how it goes. Michael Thomas, I think, is supposed to be there, but I'm not sure he'll be 100%. Like I said, him and Breeze have not been on the field the whole time. And the Bears usually play non-mobile quarterbacks pretty close in 2020. And then they did play to within 3 of the Bears, or within 3 to the Saints in week 7. So we can see if they can get within 8.5. I don't think that they win this game, but I do think that they can stay within 8.5 with this. It seems like Trubisky's playing better. David Montgomery's train is rolling along. I think the Bears were hanging with the Packers for most of the game last week, and I think the Packers are better than the Saints. Vis-a-vis, I think the Bears can keep it within 8.5.
There we go. I like it.
Wow.
I don't feel good about that.
You should.
Way to talk yourself into your own bet that you hate.
I hate it. I hate everything. Whatever. Best bet is a stupid segment. I can't wait till it's done.
We got three dogs. Come on, underdogs. Let's do it this weekend.
We did it. Well, Rance picked a favorite, right? He's at -6.
But I think that's probably that favorite to me is my best or my favorite on the board.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's going to be a disaster.
That's
for
the new
Browns.
segment. The favorite.
That's my favorite.
Well, that's going to do it for the Clearing Waivers podcast this week. We do appreciate every one of you taking the time to listen to us. We enjoy doing it for you guys. Come and hang out with us, interact with us on social media. We'd like to always talk to you guys on there at Clearing Waivers on social media, on Twitter and Instagram. And we do have a Facebook group you can join. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, whatever you use to enjoy the podcast. Subscribe on them, leave us a review. Click the bell so you're given some notifications when we do have new episodes drop, but they're usually sometime Wednesday afternoon. But we do appreciate you one more time. Go share it with a friend. We're kind of thriving off of word of mouth at the moment, so go give a friend the podcast and let them enjoy it as well. But for all of us here at the Clearing Waivers podcast, we appreciate you one more time. Ta-ta for now.
The day is done. Now the night has begun. Nerves in a restless crowd. Don't go, oh, somebody walking away. Hold, hold your body close to the flames. Don't go, oh, somebody walking away. Oh, a loaded gun. Pressed against my brow, 'cause I wonder how all this undone. Holding fast to a vow, 'cause I laugh aloud. 'Cause I have faith in nobody else can protect you, no. While pages burning will all be dead under virgin snow. I have faith that nobody else can protect you, no. My pages burning will all be dead under virgin snow. So hold your body close to the flames. Don't go, somebody walking away. Oh, hold, hold your body close to the flames. Don't go, somebody walking away. Oh. Hold your body close to the flame.